Now we will discuss about the next topic, which is what are generic types. So collections in Dart are heterogeneous by default. That means collections like list, map can contain multiple or values of different types. Just for example, again, I would like to remove all this so that we can understand this concept. Gene- Generic type. So usually what happens is if we have a list of you can say user, then this list can have first a string that is mark, then second data can be a integer, and third data can be a boolean, you can say true. Okay, so what happened is we are using or entering multiple data types in that list, which is okay if that is required by that particular uh, function, you can say a particular task. The concept of generics can be used to achieve a strictness in the data types. That is, if we mention that this user list will only contain strings, then it's make sure that there will be no error while we are building that application, because we don't want the user or the person who is using our application to just insert whatever data he want to our variables, because it will show an error if anyone tries to assign different value in that thing. And a generic type is declared simply using less than greater than. That is here list then string. It means this list will only contain string. Now I have to write Bill and then Jeff. See, now the error is gone because we are doing what is being mentioned in our program. Similarly, if we want, we can just use list of int marks is equal to 33, 44, 55. If I try to enter in string, it will show an error because the element type string can be assigned to that list type integer. So it's very convenient at a lot of times. And also we have discussed list, but what if there is a map? Because map used to be like string name then a value. Suppose who else is left? mm, I will just like Tom, and then age we will write 22. We can write 22 if it's a normal, that is we haven't mentioned any type. But if you want to restrict it, then we can just write string will be the key most of the time, obviously, and then the value will only be string. In that case this 23 will show an error. We have to give a string, that is suppose age adult. I'm just giving an example. In the same way we have used in list and map, generics can be used for anything such as class, function, object. You might ask me how function. That is, if there is a function, I'm just not getting an example right now. But suppose if there is a function string or list, function name will be whatever, give, add data, then it's the return type is a list. But what if we just mention list of integer here? So this return should only contain integers like this. So in while when you will see the real Flutter application, real Flutter code, you will see this generic type a lot of time. Now our next concept is about accessibility, which simply means usually if you are coming from another programming language, you must know the concept of public and private properties or variables or whatever function. So by default, all variables and functions are public and accessible to the object we create. Suppose there is a class student, sorry, class should be like this. So this int id 2 is accessible by its object, like student1 dot id. But if we want to make it a private, that means only within this class this data will can be accessed, not outside. So in that case, if you can see this here, it's the issue you can say normally this is the issue of dartpad. But let's try and print, because in VS Code here you are able to see that ID. But when we will use a real programming language, or you can say when we are working in VS Code, this won't happen, because whenever we make any property inside our class a private property, it won't be accessed by its objects. So the method is just simply use underscore before the variable name. This is how we make it a private. And you might think, no, it's not working here, but this is not true. This is some issue of dartpad, which will be solved when we are using any good text editor. But right now, the only focus should be on understanding the concept. So yeah, we have done this portion, that is controlling accessibility, which simply means how to make a variable or function private within the class. The next concept we will be understanding is what is inheritance. This is another concept in the object oriented programming. So suppose we have two classes. You can just see in the slide there are two classes, dog and cat. Within the two classes, there are some properties or some methods which are common. We can say first is color and the second is eat. So if there is only one or two classes, then it's okay. But what happens if we have multiple classes and those classes also has those function, that is also cat and dog, okay. But what if there is some like bird, that those will also have a color and an eat function. So in that case, we can just make an another class which will be the parent class. You can just say, and that class can be extended or can be copied by its lower classes. So you can just say we will make a separate class and put those common characteristics. Let's do it and try. Yes, right. Inheritance concept. First of all, I will write the parent class like animal, and then it will have string, color, and void it. Void it means this is a function. Now let's see, I have a class of call of name dog, and it will have a property of string breed, and second it will have void bark property. Let's make it null. Now what happens if I create an object of dog? Var dog is equal to dog, like this. And then if I try to access dog dot, it will only show breed and bark. But what if we also want the color? In this case, the concept of inheritance comes. Now we just simply have to write class dog extends animal. Okay. This extends keyword is used when we are inheriting. So now if I write dog dot, see, we can see color as well and eat as well. And if you want, we can just directly call the eat function like here, print eating, and now run. See, you can see eating. So here dog is called the child class and this animal is called the parent class, and this dog class is inheriting from this animal class. Inheriting means these properties and methods, it can be used within this class as well. So it's good, and if this extend thing will be used in the Flutter, I haven't used that much because in Flutter everything they are already being extended internally. We just have to write the keyword and that's it. It's very rare that we will create our own classes and inherit them. It just depend upon your usage, that's it. So I hope you have understood the concept of inheritance, and then how to make a variable private, like simply this underscore, and the generic type is used mostly with list, map, and other thing. So that's all for the object oriented portion of Dart language.